something called shade. And shade, that's the big problem here. And probably a lot of you have something that looks like this. Maybe it started out as a square foot garden or something like that. If it had started that way, it'd have a lot more fancy soil in it than this. It's a lot more expensive. But this could be used, but we chose not to use it because of the issues of shade, because of the issues of weeds. You see, the grass here is going to come into that bed just so quickly, as it has already done. So you've got a major job of eliminating all the weeds in here, and also giving yourself a weed-free perimeter in order to even start with this garden. So the soil itself is not a problem, the weeds are a major problem, and the shade is a huge problem.
Are there any that do okay with shade?
The question is, can plants grow in shade? And the quick answer is no, but some plants can use less sun and still produce. For example, any leaf-producing plant can get by with 3 to 4 hours of direct sunlight and partial sunlight. But if you're getting fruiting plants, tomatoes, just don't even try. You remember the picture of my peppers? With tomatoes on one side and corn on the other side, they got some direct sun. And I wasn't getting any peppers until I removed the corn and gave them that 7 or 8 hours of sunlight. So I didn't want to spend time here specifically, but I wanted you to see this and understand why we choose not to try and grow in this kind of a situation. Now, if these were moved out into the middle and somebody removed the grass, this would be fine. We just had a better situation out there, and it would be easier for us, quicker for us to show. You had a question there.
Yes. You're talking about sand and sawdust.
Uh-huh.
A lot of the sand you can buy and stuff around here is like for paving, and it has great amounts of salt in it. It's designed so plants won't grow in it. Is there a particular kind of sand, and also where do you get the sawdust?
Question about sand and sawdust, and I have used sand for many years in the Salt Lake Valley and never heard that they put salt in it. If they're getting it from the Great Salt Lake or something and it's got that kind of salt in it, of course you don't want to use it. It needs to be washed sand without salt. Some people live close to the ocean, think they can use it from the beach. No, you don't want the salt in it. That is too much salt. The salinity will kill the plants. So where do you get it? Concrete sand is what I normally use. Make sure that they're getting it out of the mountains over there and not out of the lake where it's going to have sand in it. I mean salt in it. Other questions before we go back to this? Well, you know, cabinet shops, if somebody makes the pallets, woodworking shops, if you can go to the mountains and bring home a pickup truckload of pine needles. That's a great thing to use. You grind up those pine needles, they work just great. I've grown in 100% pine needles.
That's acidic.
You don't have to worry about acidity. A lot of people say you can't grow anything in pine needles. Look how acidic it is. You can't see, nothing grows under that pine tree. Well, thus, there's no light under that pine tree. That's why you can't grow anything under a pine tree, not acidity of the pine needles. So anything that has acidity in it can very quickly be solved with a little bit of lime. But yeah, we can grow in pine needles. Yes, ma'am.
If we already have boxes and the weeds aren't an issue, we've got paths cleared around, how do we convert? The boxes I have are just 4x4. Would I be best to take them apart and make them belong?
It's much more efficient rather than having such short spaces. But if you just want to get started, grow in them. If weeds are not an issue, and you've got cleared space, you've got the soil there, you plant according to the Mittleider system, feed according to the Mittleider system and water, and you don't have to make ridges in the box. No ridges are necessary because the outside wood becomes that ridge. So yeah, you can grow in this if you don't have the weed issue and if you've got proper light. Yes?
So you say the shade problem. Is it because of that fence? Because it seems like the sun will
one that usually follow the southern horizon, kind of south side.
What direction south?
That way.
That way.
That's south. Okay, that's south. That's west.
So wouldn't that be okay? Because I mean, yeah, you will have that.
South, west, north. This is good. This is good. The house is a little bit close.
So, and this fence is close.
Yeah, so that will only shade that.
So if they were to move this down almost to the corner, it would probably be okay, even though the house is there. It seems like the house is a little bit far away.
Okay, David checked this. He's been staying here for a few days, and he determined that we don't get any sunlight this time of year till after 10 in the morning.
Right.
So the sun is coming up from over there, over there, and coming right down this way, huh? Yeah. He said that this was giving them shade in the later afternoon. Yes, questions?
My compass south is that way.
Right over there. So, and so west is kind of this way. So this, in fact, will shade quite a bit in the afternoon. And that's what David found as he was looking at the sun. Now, during the summer months, the sun's going to be higher and maybe the shade will be a little different. But just make sure that in your yard, you've got 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight. Minimum 6 if you're going to try and grow fruiting plants. Yes.
Okay, so because we're giving our plants food, does that eliminate the reason to rotate our crops?
Yeah, the
Soil
question
pollution.
is about rotation of crops. 3 reasons. Nutrition, bugs, and diseases. We're giving them all the nutrition they need, aren't we? We don't have to plant legumes and then let the bugs fix the nitrogen in the plant's roots and then plant tomatoes there next year so they'll get some nitrogen from the legume roots. We don't have to do that. And if you're going to have a bug problem, you're going to have to move your plants a long way to get away from those bugs. Same thing with diseases. You don't have room in the typical yard to rotate your plants far enough away to eliminate those problems. That's why it is so important to have the cultural practices of the Mittleider system. You understand? You grow healthy seedlings, you put them in the ground, you grow them fast, you harvest them at maturity, they get out, and you never have problems with bugs and diseases. Your plants are healthy, so they resist those things too. Yeah.
You talk about bugs and pests. Can you, with gophers, we have gophers, because we have a hollow right nearby, so it's not just one gopher, it's 400 of them.
Oh yeah.
Can you put a base on
A
your
great
box?
thing to do, thank you. If you got gophers, for goodness sake, if you're growing in boxes, put hardware cloth down.
What is it,
Hardware cloth, it's
hardware?
half-inch metal screen. Yeah. And all you do, you buy a 5-foot wide or 6-foot wide piece, however long, and then you remove the dirt, put it inside, underneath, and over the edges, so that the critter cannot get in. The roots can go down through that, but the guys cannot come up. Even in dirt, if you'll do it beyond the box and bring it up, then they can't get into your actual beds. A little bit of work, but very often, I mean, I had a gorgeous big box of potatoes, and the moles ate them all. I should have had a couple of 100 pounds of potatoes. I had 10. That was, yeah, that upset me just a little.
I have my raspberries in a box right now. I planted them last fall, and they just have dirt in them. Should I take them out and put? There's weeds in the dirt, like the dirt. Should I take them out and?
Okay, here's the question. Should I leave my raspberries in the existing dirt? First thing I would say is eliminate the weeds. Try to get rid of the weeds because they're just robbing your plants of nutrition, of water, of
pull 'em out.
light and space. Pull them out and pull them out and pull them out and pull them out. It's called early and often weeding. Yeah.
But don't change them.
You don't have to. Yeah, if you want to, you can. Sure. If you were to take all of those raspberry plants out and then replant them in sawdust and sand, it'd probably be just great. It'd set them back a year because of the fact that you've done the root pruning and all of that stuff. But yeah, you don't have to change. Just eliminate the weeds and start feeding properly. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Okay, in her scenario, if you already have an existing plant there and you want
Okay, when you've got existing plants, what do you do about feeding them? Does anyone remember what I said very quickly as we were flying by in the classroom about how much weekly feed to use, how much pre-plant to use? I thought not.
1 ounce per 3
Pre-plant is a
1
ounce
ounce
per
for 3
foot.
gallons.
That's what you use if you're growing seedlings, an ounce per 3 gallons of water. But in the garden, it's lineal feet. Basically 2 rows of plants right down the center. You're going to do 1 ounce of pre-plant and a ½ ounce of weekly feed. Very simple. Doesn't matter what size plant you're planting or anything. What was the question there?
You just sprinkle it on top?
You sprinkle it on the surface of the soil and water it in. Did that answer the question or did I? Sprinkle it on the surface of the soil and water it in. Now the pre-plant is best if it's mixed with the soil, but if you got plants there, you got to be careful you don't be hurting the roots mixing it with the soil. And by all means, if you got existing plants or trees or shrubs or berries or whatever, put the pre-plant down once a year. Once a crop for your vegetable plants. Kick your head. Was that
What is the frequency of the pre-existing plant feeding that you were
well, if you're talking shrubs and bushes, trees, berries, and stuff 3 times a year. Yeah,
What about the preen and whatnot?
once
as
a
far
year
as
for pre-plant.
the weeds go? I mean, once I get my garden going, I've put preen down in the past, and I haven't had a big weed problem. Does that hurt the plants, or?
I'm not familiar with preen. Is that a pesticide or an herbicide?
Yeah, we.
Pre-emergent.
Yeah. I always use E&O weeding. And I avoid those chemicals. You know, we have gotten so accustomed to spraying our yard, spraying this and spraying that I think we overuse those things. And it's so much easier and less work. I would much prefer to give up my gym membership and work out in the garden instead of paying for a workout in the gym. So that's the answer. Now, shall we go back that way and